Rajacharya Ashtottara Shata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Abhay Charnarvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Jai.
Confounder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.
Jai.
Con Guru Vrind Ki Jai.
Jai.
Koti Vaishnav Vrind Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai.
Jai.
Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrind Ki Jai.
Jai.
राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय।
जय।
ब्रज भूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय।
जय।
धाम की जय। पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय।
जय।
बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की जय। गंगा यमुना
जय
महारानी की जय।
जय।
देवी की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय।
जय।
भक्त वृंद की जय।
जय।
प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल।
हरि बोल।
Assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tatam Jayam Mudirayet Nashtaprayeshva Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki Shrinvatam Swakatha Krishnaha Punya Shravana Kirtanaha Hridyantasto Bhadrani Vidhunoti Suhritsatam. Am I supposed to share the screen, Mataji?
Just 1 second. We are planning on sharing it.
Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 9. The Passing Away of Bhishma Dev. Text 14. Sarvam kala kritam manye.
Sarvam kalam kritam manye.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think there's no repeating. I'll just say it. Yeah. Sarvam kala kritam manye bhavatam cha yadapriyam sapalo yadvashe loko vayorivaga ghanavalihi. Sarvam kala kritam manye bhavatam cha yad apriyam sapalo yadvashe loke vayoriva ghanavalihi. Sarvam kala kritam manye bhavatam cha yad apriyam sapalo yad vashe loke vayoriva ghanavalihi. Please chant.
Hare Krishna. Sarvam kala kritam manye bhavatam cha yadapriyam sapalo yadvashe loko vayoriva ghanavalihi.
Hare Krishna. Sarvam kala kirtam manye bhavatam cha yadapriyam sapalo yad avase loko vayariva ghanavali. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Sarvam kala kritamanye bhavatam cha yad apriyam sapalo yad vashe loko vayor eva ganavali. Hare Krishna, thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Sarvam kala kritam manye bhavatam cha yada priyam sapalo yadvase loko vayur iva ghanavali.
Anyone else?
Sarvam kala kritam manye bhavatam cha yada priyam sapalo yad vashe loko vayor iva ghanavali.
Hare Krishna. Sarvam kala kritam manye bhavatam cha yad apriyam sapalo yad vase loko vayoriva ganavalihi. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Word to word translation. Sarvam, all this. Kalakritam, done by inevitable time. Manye, I think. Bhavatam cha, for you also. Yat, whatever. Apriyam, detestable. Sapalaha, with the rulers. Yat vashe, under the control of that time. Lokaha, everyone in every planet. Vayoho, the wind carries. Iva, as. Ghana avalihi, in a line of clouds. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In my opinion, this is all due to inevitable time, under whose control everyone in every planet is carried, just as the clouds are carried by the wind. Purport. There is control by time all over the space within the universe, as there is control by time all over the planets. All the big, gigantic planets, including the sun, are being controlled by the force of air, as the clouds are carried by the force of air. Similarly, the inevitable kala or time controls even the action of the air and other elements. Everything, therefore, is controlled by the supreme kala, a forceful representative of the Lord within the material world. Thus, Yudhishthir should not be sorry for the inconceivable action of time. Everyone has to bear the actions and reactions of time as long as one is within the conditions of the material world. Yudhishthir should not think that he had committed sins in his previous birth and is suffering the consequence. Even the most pious has to suffer the condition of material nature. But a pious man is faithful to the Lord, for he is guided by the bona fide Brahmana and Vaishnava, following the religious principles. These three guiding principles should be the aim of life. One should not be disturbed by the tricks of eternal time. Even the great controller of the universe, Brahmaji, is also under the control of that time. Therefore, one should not grudge being thus controlled by time, despite being a true follower of religious principles. Om Ajnanatirmirandhasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Kamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagra Jatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye. Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. In my opinion, this is all due to inevitable time, under whose control everyone in every planet is carried, just as the clouds are carried by the wind. So, this is Bhishma Dev speaking to the Pandavas. In the last couple of verses, we read when Bhishma Dev is lying on the bed of arrows, his body pierced by these arrows. He's in a very uncomfortable, painful condition. It is not possible for any ordinary person to even maintain his life, to be living under those conditions. But Bhishma Dev he was a very extraordinary personality. He was a great warrior, a Maharathi. I also heard from a lecture that he had the strength of 10,000 elephants. And there were many others also, if not many, but there were others also on that battlefield who were like him, as powerful as him. So Bhishma Dev was in this great, significant battle. And also he had this boon that he could give up his body at his will when he wanted. So this is the condition in which Bhishma Dev is speaking. He's laying there on the bed of arrows and he sees the Pandavas sitting next to him in their gentle demeanor with folded palms. And Bhishma Dev is feeling, he had tears in his eyes. Bhishma Dev understood how Yudhishthir Maharaj was feeling. Yudhishthir Maharaj felt responsible for the killing of millions of men, what to speak of all the animals that were killed on the battlefield. So many horses and elephants. Prabhupada says Yudhishthir Maharaj is the emperor. So emperor sees his praja. Praja means ja is anyone who takes birth. within his kingdom. So the emperor is like a father to all the beings in that kingdom. So he's feeling responsible for the death of so many people. And what to speak of the women who became widows, and the children who are fatherless, and the old men who didn't have any support now because their sons were killed. This is a state of mind of Yudhishthir Maharaj. He was thinking that this battle was fought just so that he could get his kingdom. He could become the emperor. Was it worth? Was this battle worth? Simply to get his kingdom? Did all these people have to die? So he was blaming himself. And Bhishma Dev understood the situation. He understood the heart of Yudhishthir Maharaj. So therefore, the first thing that Bhishma Dev said is, oh, you gentle souls, the Pandavas, how many tribulations you had to undergo. He had tears in his eyes. And then he said, your mother Kunti, she went through so many difficulties. She was a widow when you were all young children. She had 5 children without a husband, small children. And she had to raise them. And she had to go through so many difficulties. What to speak of all the intrigues that were made to kill them. So Bhishma Dev was trying to tell Yudhishthir Maharaj that there was a great injustice that was done, and this battle was fought in order to counteract that injustice. So he should not be, Yudhishthir Maharaj should not hold himself responsible for this battle. So from Mahabharata, we understand there are many reasons for this battle to take place. In this context here, looking at Yudhishthir Maharaj's lamentation, Bhishma Dev is giving his opinion in this particular shloka. Bhishma Dev is saying, in my opinion, this is all due to inevitable time. This battle taking place, all these men getting killed, all the women becoming widows and all this. This has happened due to inevitable time, under whose control everyone in every planet is carried. What is the power of time? In the material world, nothing can happen without time. Nothing can happen without time. Our lives are timed. There is a time when we appear, a time when we die. There's a time when we have Bhagavatam class. Everyone logs in at that particular time. And there's a time when we are supposed to end it. So time is all powerful. Time is moving everything within this material creation. If there is no time, nothing would exist. Actually, when does time come into picture? Is there time in the spiritual world? No. Time is conspicuous by its absence in the spiritual world. Whereas the material world begins with time. When Lord Mahavishnu glances on the material nature, that's when he, the Supreme Lord, manifests in the feature of his time. Time is also entering. So time is becoming manifest at that time when the Supreme Lord, Mahavishnu, is glancing on the material nature. And then the material modes are agitated. And then the whole creation begins. When the modes are agitated, then first the false ego comes into picture. False ego and goodness, passion and ignorance. And that's how, the mind, the intelligence, the senses, the gross elements, they all are made. And then there is secondary creation. Lord Brahma is bringing these ingredients together, and the qualified living entities, they get their bodies. And that's how the creation is progressing. It starts there with time. And what is time doing? As the time is passing, what is time doing? Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Kalosmi, I am Kala. I am the all-destroying time. Time is the destroyer of everything. As time passes, what happens with time? Things start dwindling and eventually they disappear. So, the clouds are moving, they are carried by the wind. But the wind is moving because of time. So time is moving everything. So this is the point that Bhishma Dev is making here. You are thinking you are the cause of this battle? Bhishma Dev is saying, in my opinion, this battle took place because of inevitable time. Yeah. So everything is controlled by the Supreme Kala, a forceful representative of the Lord within the material world. So Yudhishthir Maharaj should not be sorry for the inconceivable action of time. Let's pay attention to this inconceivable. The action of time is inconceivable. We cannot conceive. It is achintya. Achintya. Just like how do we see the effect of time? What does it mean that anything that is happening to us, it is happening in time? How do we understand this? So anyone who is conditioned in this material world, is under the influence of time. Okay. Do we decide at what time we have to take birth or in which family we have to take birth? No, it is arranged by superior authorities. But what is it that is causing us to get a certain birth at a certain time? It is our karma. So karma is of two kinds. There is prarabdha. Actually, there's more divisions also. But for now, let's take prarabdha karma and aprarabdha karma. Prarabdha karma means, first of all, what is karma? Karma means you perform an action and you get a reaction to that karma, to that work. You do something and you get a reaction to the work that you do. So prarabdha karma means you are already experiencing the reaction to the work which you have done in your previous life. That is prarabdha. So an example of prarabdha karma would be someone having what do you say? A disease, yes? Or you have some legal implication. So this is prarabdha karma. You're suffering the result of your karma now in this body. This body is actually your prarabdha karma. You get a particular body as a result of your past actions. So this is prarabdha karma. And then there is aprarabdha. Aprarabdha means the work is done already, but the results are not yet manifest. They are yet to come. So what is there between now and our aprarabdha karma manifesting? It is time. In time, your aprarabdha karma is going to come to you. This is how, and at every moment, what is the conditioned soul trying to do? He's trying to fight to counteract his prarabdha karma. We get some suffering and we are trying to mitigate that suffering. We are trying to avoid that. That's what we are trying to do. And while trying to do that, we are creating more aprarabdha karma. More reactions are coming as we are trying to mitigate. So at every moment, the conditioned soul is under the control of, he's experiencing prarabdha and aprarabdha karma. And this prarabdha and aprarabdha karma is coming to us by the influence of time. So no one can actually escape the influence of time. But does the time also influence that which is not material? Does time also influence the spiritual? No. Time does not influence the spiritual. Time is actually controlling the material aspect. Just like, let's say, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Natvevaham jatu nasam natvam neme janadhipaha nachaiva na bhavishyamaha. Never was there a time when I did not exist. Never was there a time when I did not exist. Never was there a time when you, Arjuna, did not exist. And never was there a time when all these kings did not exist.
But I am there.
Nor will we ever cease to be. That means at all times we are existing. And also, Arjuna also went through the same dilemma what Yudhishthir Maharaj is experiencing now. Arjuna also didn't want to fight on the battlefield. As a Kshatriya, he came to fight. But when he saw his grandfather on the other side, he saw his teacher, Dronacharya, and he saw all his cousins and family members, he thought, this battle is not worth it. He didn't want to fight. So there Krishna begins by instructing him that you are not this body. The very first instruction, right? First Krishna says, Ashocyan anvashochasvam pragyavadamscha bhashase. Gatasun agatasumscha nanushocanti pandita. The Lord said, those who are wise, they do not lament, neither for the living nor for the dead. A wise man does not lament. And then Krishna said, never was there a time when I did not exist, you did not exist, or all these kings didn't exist. And nor will they ever cease to be. That means in the future also everyone is going to remain. So you should kill them. There is no birth or death for the soul. We are all spirit souls. So you should kill them. And Arjun got convinced by Bhagavad Gita, which was spoken before this battle took place. And then Arjun engaged in this battle. And there Krishna also made a point that this battle is arranged by me. Krishna said, this battle is arranged by me. You should simply become an instrument. So that is the point Bhishma Dev is also making to Yudhishthir Maharaj here. The battle was already arranged by Krishna, and Arjun was expected to be an instrument in that battle. So here Bhishma Dev is saying that all this has happened by the inevitable time. So Yudhishthir, you should not be sorry for the inconceivable action of time. Don't feel sorry. Everyone has to bear the actions and reactions of time as long as one is within the conditions of the material world. Another interesting point. So who are all the people who are in the material world? Is it only the conditioned souls who are in the material world? No, liberated souls are also in the material world. Is it not? There's also liberated souls in the material world. The devotees are also in the material world who are not yet liberated. Srila Prabhupada is saying, everyone has to bear the actions and reactions of time. But this time acts differently on different type of people. For a conditioned soul, as we just now discussed, it is the karma. The influence of time on the conditioned soul comes in the form of their karmic reactions. You have done some sinful activity, so you're getting some suffering now. Because of your impious activities, as a reaction, you're getting suffering. Is Yudhishthir Maharaj a conditioned soul? Is he a sinful person? Is that why he's suffering? Is Kunti Devi suffering the reactions? In the previous shloka we read that she was destined to suffer. Prabhupada says in the purport that she was destined to suffer by providence. Was she suffering the sinful reactions of her past life? Is Yudhishthir Maharaj suffering the sinful reactions of his past life? So there are three categories of people. There is the Nitya Siddha devotees, or you can say the liberated persons, liberated devotees. And then there is the sadhakas, the practicing devotees who are not yet liberated. And then there is the conditioned souls. It's interesting to note that everyone is actually experiencing the influence of time. Materialists, why they are experiencing the influence of time, we can understand. Because of their karma. How does time influence the practicing devotees? So we understand that when we take to devotional service, there are different stages of advancement in devotional service. And at different levels of advancement, we are shedding our anarthas, different grades, different types of anarthas. So the anarthas which are, anartha means unwanted things, things which are not required in devotional service, that is anartha. So you have different types of anarthas. You have sukritotha anartha, dushkritotha anartha, bhaktiotha anartha, apradotha anartha. Sukritotha anartha means those anarthas which are coming because of my past pious activities. I don't have any karmic reaction, but past pious activities have left some impressions, because of which, just like you have, there's a desire, isn't it? When you do an action, there's a reaction, but simultaneously there is a desire, there is an inclination to do that again. So those inclinations are there. Sukritota anarthas. So then you are inclined to perform sukritis, punya karmas, which can also be obstacles on the path of bhakti. So those also have to be removed. But simply by practicing bhakti, all those inclinations will also be removed gradually. So sukritota, dushkritota, anartha. So dushkritota, anarthas means because of past impious activities, there are some impressions left in the mind. So you tend to do those again. You tend to repeat those sinful activities again. So because of those impressions. So when you're practicing bhakti, these things are removed. Or you remember, the example given by Srila Prabhupada, when you switch off the fan, it is still moving for some time. That is what a sadhaka is experiencing. A practicing devotee, before he reaches the higher levels of advancement in Krishna consciousness, he's actually still experiencing some results from his past activities. Of course, those are given to him for his purification, not as a punishment, but those are coming to him to help him advance in Krishna consciousness. So therefore we see that even in practicing devotees, there are challenges, there are difficulties, there is suffering. But we will see if the person is actually situated properly in Krishna consciousness, these difficulties only help him in growing in his spiritual life, in advancing in Krishna consciousness. So even sadhakas practicing devotional devotees who have surrendered their lives to Krishna, they will also experience the influence of time, and it will come in the form of suffering. But what is Yudhishthir Maharaj's position? Is he also a practicing devotee? No, he's a liberated person. Why he is experiencing suffering? Yes. So when you see a liberated person, how about Prahlad Maharaj? How many sufferings he had to go through? His own father made so many attempts to kill him. How about Srila Prabhupada? Srila Prabhupada's, what was his only purpose? Whatever he did, what was the motive of his activities? To spread this Krishna consciousness, to help the conditioned souls. And how many challenges he had to face. And all the difficulties that the Pandavas, of course, they faced. So we see that even liberated souls actually go through sufferings. Is it all right to say that liberated souls are experiencing suffering because they still had some reactions from their past sinful activities? Is it okay to say that? No. It is not because of their sinful reactions or anything. It is because of the Lord's desire. And why would the Lord put his devotees into difficulty? To teach a lesson to the world. So the Nitya Siddha devotees of the Lord come to this world to assist the Lord in his mission, to assist the Lord in his pastimes. And they become instruments. This is what the Lord is expecting of them. You become instruments of the bigger plan. The Lord has a plan when he comes here. And he is using his eternal associates as instruments, just like when Bhagavad Gita had to be spoken. Arjun had to be bewildered. Otherwise, how Krishna will speak Bhagavad Gita, how we will get Bhagavad Gita today. So Krishna puts his devotees in difficulty to teach a lesson to the world. And who's saying all this, by the way? This is Bhishma Dev speaking. Bhishma Dev was part of this war and he was on the other side. And now he is defeated by the enemy and is laying on the battlefield on a bed of arrows. And Bhishma Dev is telling Yudhishthir Maharaj, this is all due to inevitable time. Don't feel sorry. Don't hold yourself responsible. This is because of inevitable time. What is time? Time is under Krishna's control. So this is Krishna's plan. You are just an instrument. I am just an instrument. We should not, don't think it is because of your sinful reactions. Let's see what is said further here. Yudhishthir should not think that he had committed sins in his previous birth and is suffering the consequence. No, he should not think like that. Even the most pious has to suffer the condition of material nature. This is what it means. Even the most pious person, even if he's completely sinless, still he has to accept the material conditions. When you accept a material body, for whatever reason, you have to face the material conditions. You have to face the actions and reactions of time. But what is the difference between a pious man, a devotee, and someone who's conditioned? A devotee is faithful to the Lord. He is guided by the Brahmanas, Shastras, right? He's guided by Vaishnavas. And under all circumstances, he sticks to the religious principles. He will not abandon the religious principles. These three are very important. If you are in cooperation with the plan of the Lord, with the mission of the Lord, if you are guided by the devotees, by the Brahmanas, and if you are adhering to the religious principles, then however difficult or however trying the situation may be, you can remain confident. You can remain confident. There is nothing to lament about. So Srila Prabhupada is saying these three guiding principles should be the aim of life. Be faithful to the Lord. Understand that whatever is happening is happening. It is the Lord's plan. And how do I understand? Is it actually the Lord's plan or not? That's why you need guidance from a Vaishnava. And how is a Vaishnava guided? From other sadhus and the scripture. And then you should always adhere to the religious principles. So we should make this our aim of life. And Yudhishthir Maharaj is already living by these principles. He fought this battle on the instruction of Krishna. Krishna made a last attempt. He went to Hastinapur as a peace messenger. He tried. He made every effort. He said, they are Kshatriyas. And what kind of Kshatriyas? Yudhishthir Maharaj is such a saintly person. He is Dharmaraj, Dharma personified. And there are duties for each Varna. According to their nature, there are 4 Varnas. And there is work prescribed for each Varna. The Pandavas headed by Yudhishthir Maharaj are Kshatriyas by nature. The only type of occupation for them is ruling. So if they didn't have land, if they didn't have, a kingdom or a small piece of land, then what will they do? So in order to stop this war, in other words, Krishna made every attempt to give the other side an opportunity to stop this war. He said, just give 5 pieces of land and they will be satisfied. Duryodhan said no. He denied. He said, I won't give even that much land which can hold the tip of a needle. So now there was no other option left. That's when they went to fight. So Yudhishthir Maharaj fought by the instruction of Krishna. He was constantly guided by the sages. And he never deviated from religious principles. So there is no need for Yudhishthir Maharaj to lament. And his purpose of becoming the emperor is to give protection to the people. So Bhishma Dev himself being a Mahajan, one of the 12 Mahajans, he is the authority in Bhakti. He is telling Yudhishthir Maharaj that you should, one has no cause for despondency if he is abiding by these 3 principles. On the authority of a Mahajan, he is saying to Yudhishthir Maharaj, this has not happened. Don't lament. It has not happened because of your past sinful activities. There's a higher plan. You, me, and all of us should simply be instruments of the plan of the Lord. Even Lord Brahma is under the control of time. Therefore, one should not grudge being thus controlled by time, despite being a true follower of religious principles. So just because I'm living the life of a devotee, or I'm trying to live the life of a devotee, it doesn't mean that I should not experience any reversals in life. It doesn't mean. A devotee is a servant of the Lord. The Lord may use me in whichever way he pleases. But at the same time, because I'm not so advanced, I also understand whatever I'm suffering is because of my own past doings. So there is 2 categories of people here. Yudhishthir Maharaj does not belong to the category where someone is suffering because of his own past activities. He is being used by the Lord as an instrument for his bigger plan. So this is the message that Bhishma Dev is giving to Yudhishthir Maharaj. I'll stop here. Thank you. Is there any questions, comments, discussions? Yes. Rasa
Thank you
Chaitanya.
very much. Thank you very much, Mataji. Very nice class actually, and quite eye-opener, how the different actions in the previous life affects, and what happens to devotees and what happens to Nitya Shuddha people, Very nice. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Kaivalya. Yes.
Thank you, Mataji.
Go ahead, Mataji. Thank you.
No, I have some small doubt or question I can say. Yudhishthira Maharaj, he was not deviated from all his principles and everything, but he did gambling.
Mm-hmm.
So that is first, once I thought, that is Kshatriyas feeling that because they called him, that he couldn't say no. That's why he went. That's what I thought. So.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Number 2 is time. You are talking about time. Even Bhishma Pitamaha also waited for that time for Uttarayan Punyakalam.
This
Is
I
it right?
covered in the last class, Mataji, if you remember last Saturday. If you remember, I said in Mahabharata, it is said that Bhishma Dev was actually waiting for Uttarayana, for the right time to leave the body. But Mahabharata is written by Vyasdev for those who are not able to understand the Vedas, who are not able to come to the Vedas. That means Mahabharata is actually giving us the essence of the Karma Kanda section. So if you read just Mahabharata, you will not understand the heart of why the different characters are doing what they're doing. If you want to actually understand Mahabharata properly, you must read Srimad Bhagavatam. You should understand Mahabharata through Srimad Bhagavatam. Because if you simply read Mahabharata, you will come to the conclusion that, you know, what is the idea of leaving your body at Uttarayanam? You'll go to heaven. Bhishma Dev being such a great Mahabhagavat, you think he's waiting for the auspicious moment to go to heaven? No. So actually he was waiting for Krishna. Not only that, he was also waiting. He has this transcendental knowledge. He wants to give this transcendental knowledge to enlighten everyone who is coming to him. All the sages, in the 2 shlokas we saw how many sages came. He wants to give that transcendental knowledge to Yudhishthir Maharaj specifically. And of course also to see Krishna at the time of death. So that's why he was waiting. So that is the point, Mataji. And the earlier one that you said, was that a comment about Yudhishthir Maharaj gambling? You had a question, but he was a Kshatriya. So as a Kshatriya, it was his dharma to accept it, right? It's like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. That's the situation. If he didn't do, then he went against dharma. And if he did, then he has to go through all this difficulty. And because he is in the position of a king, he has to set the example of following dharma. Dharma shastras are also to be observed. So that's how he was in a dilemma, and he took that decision. And of course, throughout the whole thing, there's a bigger plan. We always understand there's a bigger plan. The battle had to happen. For that, Yudhishthir Maharaj had to gamble. So that's also there.
And one more thing I feel also, nowadays we don't have anybody feels like Yudhishthira Maharaj about their sins to go for this kind of war. So that's why all these things are happening in this material world nowadays.
Yeah.
A lot of people, they're going for the war and they're killed by the war, and their parents or their families, everybody are suffering. Yeah. So this is because of Kali Yuga or because the dharma is not there or what?
Yeah, it's same. Kali Yuga means dharma is not there, right? 3 legs are already broken. 1 leg is wobbling. So yes, it is Kali Yuga and dharma is going down. That's why all this is happening. And Kali, the very word Kali means age of quarrel. Okay. The very slight provocation, one goes for a war. That is the symptom of Kali. Okay, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Rasa Chaitanya Prabhu, you had raised your hand. Sorry.
No, Dronacharya Prabhu there. Let him ask first.
Okay, thank you. Dronacharya Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you for a wonderful class. It was very, very helpful. So you were talking about time, and they talk about the Bhagavad Gita. There's 5 primary topics, and Ishwara, Jiva, Prakriti, Karma, and then time. And I could never really understand where, I guess, time kind of rolled into it, because the other ones are very prominent in the Bhagavad Gita, and I guess the time factor. I guess, how do we understand that? Is that what ties everything together? Is that what I mean, you made it very clear how that what connects everything with time. I just was wondering,
Yeah.
as like a featured topic of Bhagavad Gita, to understand that time is one of the five.
Well, Krishna does mention, about time in the 11th chapter, Prabhuji. Krishna says, I'm time and I've come to destroy everything. So there in Bhagavad Gita 11th chapter, Krishna speaks about the role of time. How time is destroying everything. So that actually fits into the entire Bhagavad Gita. So there is Ishvara, there is Jiva. Second chapter, we read extensively about Jiva, how you are a spirit soul. About Bhagavan, Ishvara, we talk in several chapters, right? About the position of Krishna, transcendental knowledge, chapter 4. And again, devotional service in chapter 12. So we are talking about Bhagavan. Then material nature, yes, 7th chapter, we talk about the material nature, right? Prakriti. And also the 3 modes of material nature, 14th chapter, 17th chapter, we are talking. Karma, 3rd chapter, we talk about karma. 5th chapter also, we are talking about karma. And then time, as you said, it is tying everything, but specifically about the role of time, you'll find in the 11th chapter.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I guess my next question is that sometimes we do dramas at the temple. We rehearse the dramas, and people dress up and they act, and it's all to give some type of instruction, to the audience. Is this what is happening? Obviously on a much pure, organized level with Krishna and his pure devotees, where they come to perform like a drama where the result is predetermined. The message is kind of rehearsed, or obviously Krishna can facilitate that to happen internally. But is that what is happening? Or are people kind of within those dramas free to do what they want to do? Like, the drama, okay, they have the script, they're going to follow the script. Is this what's happening with Krishna and his devotees?
Yes, there is a script. There is a script. So in this world, when you have news, first the action happens, and then that is reported in the news that so-and-so, this event happened. Whereas with Krishna, first the script is written. In the scriptures, Krishna will come after 5, he will come as Lord Buddha. He's going to come as Kalki. So-and-so will be his parents. And this will be his activities. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will come, right? When this was written, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had not appeared, but there is mention about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That means the script is already there. But so the role, the particular function, that script is there, the Supreme Lord is there, and his eternal associates who will come with him from the spiritual world, their roles are also fixed. What they're going to do, that is there. But also there is an opportunity for the people of this world to participate. They also get different roles within that. And by taking part in that, they are becoming purified, and they also get to go back to the spiritual world. Now, as far as, is it already decided what exactly each person is going to do? It's not exactly like that. The script is there. It's just like when you perform, when there is a drama, or even when you give a class for that matter. You give the same topic to 4 different speakers. There is some individuality that comes out in each speaker, isn't it? The same message, but there is some offering of that, the flavor of that person also coming. So yes, the final result, what it is going to happen, or what is the message that is going to be given, that's the script, that's already there. But at the same time, there is a role to play for each person. Everyone is given a role, and there is that free will, what you choose and how best you will perform. So it's not like we are all puppets and, we are just, it's not exactly like, there is free will, especially when it comes to the devotees, certainly. Srila Prabhupada was given this. Is this not a Leela of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Prabhupada coming to the West and preaching. Don't you think? He is an eternal associate of the Supreme Lord. But at the same time, what was, he was facing the difficulties. And yes, the script is there. That's why our acharyas, so many of our acharyas, they foretold that the Senapati preacher is going to come. He's going to take Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission to the West. That means the script is already there. The person is also there. But still, how much Srila Prabhupada had to struggle and how determined he was. What was his devotion? How he wanted to make the offering. So that opportunity is always there. And you can always, by your input, you can actually glorify that particular pastime. I don't know if that was helpful. Dronacharya Prabhu.
Nicely explained. Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Rasa Chaitanya Prabhu.
Yeah, same thing I was telling. That we see in Vrindavan Leela, Krishna had so many cowherd friends, and if we see the suffering, they were harassed and tortured by so many different types of demons. But Krishna was always there. This morning I was listening one Prabhupada lecture. He says, demigods are almost God, Prabhupada says. In another lecture, Prabhupada says, pure devotees are better than demigods. So, like Bhishma Pitama, Yudhishthir Maharaj, 5 Pandavas, they're not ordinary people. And isn't it, this is not Leela, this can't be Leela, this can be also Leela, right?
Yeah. Because this is part of the bigger plan, yes.
Yeah, so Bhishma Pitama, like you were mentioning that, you give an example of fan. Once fan is switched off, still it's moving. So there are many devotees, even though they are having very nice sadhana, strict sadhana, still they have some challenges, they have some weakness. And so that is because of their previous life, sinful reaction or whatever. But that thing is there. People like us, those who are conditioned soul. But Srila Prabhupada, Bhishma Pitama, these people, they are like, we cannot match with them. Right. They are liberated and their suffering, it's my feeling, I don't know if this is true or what. It's all Krishna's Leela. Like Dronacharya Prabhu was telling, the same thing, it came in my mind, but he already told that on the stage when there is a drama, script is written by director and guided by director, and everybody has to act. So it's not like willingly somebody showed up and then he's like, okay, I'm this and that, I'm that. No, it's designed, it's directed by someone. So similarly, like in Vrindavan pastime, Srila Prabhupada said that it takes millions and millions of lifetime to accumulate the past activities, and as a result, you can play with Krishna. So these cowherd boys, they're playing with Krishna. It's not like ordinary job. They have performed so many lifetime past activities. As a result, they are fortunate enough so that they are playing with Krishna. So if something happened like suffering, torture by this demon, this is all Leela, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hari Hari.
So, Dronacharya Prabhu, your hand is raised. You have some announcement, Prabhuji? Today's Seva Day.
Yes, yes. No, my hand, I never lowered my hand from my question earlier. But yes, today is Seva Day at the temple. And you would like to join us, we're going to get started in about an hour. We'll be there till about 12:30. Just do some cleaning up of Krishna's property. So the more hands, the better. So if you're free, we would love to see you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
And tomorrow, for Sunday feast program, we have a guest speaker coming, His Grace Madan Gopal Prabhu from New Jersey. So just wanted to make that announcement as well. He's currently taken on the service as zonal supervisor, assistant to the GBC, and he will be, Philadelphia will be one of the temples that he'll be assisting. So just wanted to make that announcement a day early.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai. Vanchakalpatarubhischa kripasindhuvyeva patitanam pavanevya vaishnavevyo namo namaha.
Thank you very much, Mataji.
Jai.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare